Hello sports fans, this is the dog H. Weber with another edition of Weber on Sports Express here on FingerLakes1.com. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Chilly, huh? Don't worry about a thing now, we're talking 5-0 by Sunday. Hey, my son-in-law who passed away tragically on January 7th, Matt Foe, they had a benefit led by Sam Cosentino and his wife Kathy. You did a marvelous job. Fantastic turnout at the Geneva Recreation Complex. Broomball tournament, raffles, pizza, hot dogs. What a spectacular day. On Sunday, they did a fabulous job. Thanks to everybody who showed up. Really, because I know Matt was looking down from heaven, enjoying every moment of it. And by the way, our good friend Senator Mike Nozzolio showed up, did a little speech about how he's trying to get legislation to afford volunteer firemen the same coverage as the paid firemen has. And that, of course, is in the cycle down in Albany. Thanks for Mike for showing up, and I know he'll do his best. Can you say 2007? Can you say deja vu? The Giants, a couple of weeks ago, Tommy Coughlin, the heat was on. Are you going to make the playoffs? Maybe he'd lose his job. Today, ladies and gentlemen, the Waterloo sensation, Tom Coughlin, could become mayor of New York City if he ran. The Giants hammer the pack, fumbling, bumbling, stumbling Packers. Couldn't hang on to a pass, fumbled the ball, all kinds of weird penalties. At home, the Giants crushed the Packers, setting up for the NFC Championship next Sunday at 6:30 against San Fran on the West Coast. Early line, San Fran by 2.5. But could this be a repeat of 2007? The Giants are playing great. Hey, by the way, the AFC Championship, a couple of old arch rivals going at it. That'll be the first game next Sunday. AFC Championship, Baltimore versus New England. Tom Brady and his great wide receivers and his tight end playing superb football. Could it be? Could it be? Giants, New England, Super Bowl again? Just hang on, folks. Next Sunday, if you got your girlfriend and your wife planning on something, change your plans. The best day for football, next Sunday, AFC Championship at 3, NFC Championship at 6:30. Nothing like it. Winners go on to Super Bowl in Indianapolis, February the 5th. The losers pack it in. UGLY, folks, switching to Tim Tebow. I'm getting tired of seeing this kid. I know he threw that touchdown pass against Pittsburgh, disappointing the zillion Steeler fans. He is horrible. I've seen better quarterbacks playing at Pop Warner. I love Sarah Palin's line. You can't put lipstick on a pig. The guy's got no game. He does not have the right stuff to be an NFL quarterback. I'm telling you, the guy is horrible. They've got to do something out in Denver. I know he's praying on the sidelines, and I have no problem with people praying. I pray that I don't have to watch the Denver Broncos with him at quarterback. SU basketball. Jimmy Senecrobe, the owner of FingerLakes1.com, big smile on his face. Why not? The Boeheim Chargers just keep on steamrolling their opponents. They hang around for a while, opponents, and then they just whisk them away. They are playing exciting, sensational basketball. Keep it up, SU. Speaking of basketball, on the weekends I check out all types of sporting programs. They have the ESPN College Game Day for basketball. They have the same format for football, whereas a few of their commentators go to the site of the basketball game that they select. This past weekend they selected North Carolina versus Florida State. Jay Billis. They had Jay Billis there. They had Digger Phelps there. They had them all. Hubert Davis, the commentators. And for the first 20 minutes of their show, they talked about, in glowing, how wonderful North Carolina. Nothing could be finer than the guys from North Carolina. Sensational. Final Four. The best team in the nation. Got a couple of problems. Turned the ball over too much, and they only shoot 63% from the free throw line. But I want to tell you something. You would have thought they won the national championship come time April of this year. It was ridiculous. But 15 minutes later, play ball against Florida State. The game was in Florida. Final score, Florida State beats North Carolina by 3, 4, how about 32? They ran them out of the gym. Florida State crushes North Carolina by 32. So much for the commentators. You gotta love it. What I don't love is the Notre Dame football program. They just gave that clown Brian Kelly a 2-year extension. I'm sorry. When I was growing up, and I know I'm 66 and I'm old and I'm decrepit, I got that. But what happened to the Notre Dame bar that used to be up here for football? When you beat the good teams, when you made big bowl games, when you were Notre Dame, and you were proud to be a Notre Dame player and a Notre Dame fan. The bar now, folks, is down here. It's even out of camera sight. Let me explain something. They were 8-5 the last 2 years. Kelly said he was going to make a BCS bowl this year. Didn't do it. He got invited to a bowl game to play Florida State. It was not a BCS game. Notre Dame looked good, led 14-0. Guess what? They saw Florida State score 18 unanswered. They lose 18-14. This is a great season for Kelly and Notre Dame. Look at who they played this year, or last year, and look at give me quality wins. QW, I call them. You're not going to find many. The bar for Notre Dame football is way low on a camera shot. What it should be is up here where you can see my hand. But right now, Notre Dame for the last several years is way down here. Give me a break. Brian Kelly's a bum. Notre Dame is a mediocre football team, just like my buddy Doogie Marone, the librarian at Syracuse University. You know, FingerLakes1.com, I love working here with Jimmy, and I love doing this type of a show and also the Dog and Polly podcast. But my responsibilities are going to increase. Why? Because Jim has announced that he and his equipment will be broadcasting high school sports. So we are thrilled to announce to you today on this show that FingerLakes1.com Sports will be delving into high school basketball. I haven't done play-by-play for like 13 years. But when I did do play-by-play, starting in 1970, I probably called 1,000 games. I'm looking forward to doing some play-by-play again. We got 2 games for you. Coming up February 3rd, we'll take our act to Waterloo. The Waterloo girls take on the undefeated Newark Red Girls. They're undefeated at broadcast time of this show. Should be a rock'em sock'em game. We'll be there for the audio and the video right here exclusively on FingerLakes1.com. I need a color commentator. We've been interviewing all kinds of people. We chose Matt Verkey, who knows a little bit about basketball. A little bit. One of the best players ever to play basketball out of Seneca Falls and Miners Academy. One of the all-time greats. Matt Verkey, the color commentator, the Dog, and the Verk Show, will be going to Waterloo for Waterloo Newark Girls on February 3rd, live. And then February 10th, we go to another one of my great spots, Clyde Savannah, as the Clyde Savannah boys entertain my hometown, the Lions. Only exclusively here on FingerLakes1.com. Much more details to follow. Well, my persons of the week, folks, are an extended list today. How about Dylan Verkey? Speaking of the Verkeys, Dylan scores his 1,000th point, over 1,000 points, recently against Wayne. Why is that significant? Because that's something that's seldom done. There's been 5 people at Miners that have done it. Guess what? 3 of the 5 have been, you guessed it, Verkeys. Congratulations from Weber on Sports Express to Dylan Verkey. And kudos goes out to the William Smith guard, Sasha Bornstein. Why am I bringing her name up? She scored 8 threes for the William Smith basketball team. Way to go, Sasha. Staying on campus at Hobart, a young man named Greg Stern, a senior. What is he getting publicity from the Dog for? He hit 11 three-pointers in a win over Union. And to a goaltender who Jimmy Senecropi had a chance to interview, along with Paul Hellstrom, Elliott Messmer, representing the Geneva Waterloo hockey team, coached by Clark Mockley. Elliott, a fantastic goalie, with 35 saves on an average, game in and game out. They've been suffering on the offensive side of the ice, but thanks to Elliott Messmer, he keeps the game close. And of course, he comes from a good gene pool, because his granddad and grandma are Mary and John Scalin, very good friends of mine. I always knew that John Scalin had game. Well, folks, don't forget the Dog and Polly podcast coming up this Wednesday. Our special guest, Stephen Fabrizio out of Geneva. He writes a sports article every so often for the Finger Lakes Times. He delves into many topics, and they're good ones. We look forward to having Stephen as our guest. Take care, everybody. Stay warm. That's a look at sports my way.